Hey, what's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike is here, and it is day 43 of Award Season Review, Season 3. 97 reviews coming at you in 97 days, covering many of the films up for awards recognition this season. Now, some of the films I'm talking about may still be in theaters or be awaiting a theatrical re release. All the statistical information I am providing to you, box office info, critical response, nominations, wins, my thoughts, everything is current within 7 days of recording, and as always, these reviews are spoiler free. Also, make sure you check out my website, cinephilemike.com, where you can find the ever important, beloved Where Can I Watch It spreadsheet to track the nominations and wins for all the films I talk about here, so many more, and most importantly, see how to watch them. So, we are now in our seventh theme week, lucky number 7, and we are looking at the rest of the Critics' Choice. Mostly. Now, the documentary awards have already occurred, but for the rest of the films, they will know their fate this coming Sunday, January 12th. Until then, we are going to look at 7 of them this week. There are currently 44 films competing for the Critics' Choice Awards. So far this season, I have already reviewed 17 of them out of the 43 days. I've seen 37 of them, so of those 20, I have pulled another 7, and we are going to get right into it. And so we will with a literal bang as I look back at Warner Brother Pictures' Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. I mean, given the awards pedigree of this franchise, how could I not take a look at it? Co-written by Nick Lathoris and the film's director George Miller, Furiosa roared into the box office this summer. Maybe puttered a little bit at the end with the numbers, because at the end of its initial theatrical run, the film made $67,475,791 at the domestic box office, an additional $106,300,000 internationally, for a worldwide total of $173,775,791, which just about recouped its reported budget of 168 million, but that may not account for publicity materials. But critically, the film was well liked and certified fresh on both sides. It had a 90% critical rating coming from 419 reviews and a popcorn meter score of 88% coming from over 1,000 audience reviews. Now, award season wise, it doesn't have the full steam that Mad Max Fury Road had all those years ago, but it is currently nominated for one Critics' Choice Award, which is why it lands in this theme week. Best Young Actor or Actress for Ayla Brown. Sorry, Ayla Brown. Jenny, that's at the Critics' Choice. Jenny Bevan is nominated for costume by the Costume Designers Guild for excellence in sci-fi and fantasy film. It was nominated for Best Action or Science Fiction Feature at the Astro Awards, and it was named, I will say, it was named one of the top 10 films by the National Board of Review, who also awarded the film with Outstanding Achievement in Stunt Artistry. So, let's rev up those engines and get into it with a crash and a boom. We are brought right back to Miller's post apocalyptic Australian wasteland. However, within this is one area, the green place of many mothers, where we see that there is still a place where plants can grow and food can be readily found. We meet a very young Furiosa, played in her younger years by Nominee Brown, who sees a group of motorcycle marauders who have found their way here. Keeping the existence of the green place hidden is the one job of its inhabitants, and this is to be defended. And in doing so, young Furiosa is captured and taken to the camp of warlord Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth. But not before she can kill her captor before he speaks of the green place, who, so he takes in the girl and hopes to be taken there, but Furiosa remains silent. Dementis has grand plans to take over different settlements in order to be the main overlord of the wasteland. And in one of these failed attempts to take the Citadel, run by Immortan Joe, Dementis is released to supervise Gastown, the supplier for the Citadel, but he takes Furiosa to eventually be one of his wives. Now, through a series of events, we will follow young Furiosa as she grows into the more adult version played by, in our film, Anya Taylor-Joy. Through cunning means, she becomes a trusted worker for Immortan Joe, who I neglected to mention in this film is played now by Lachey Hulme, and serving as a driver and a mechanic, as Furiosa passes herself off as a mute boy. She eventually comes to work with Praetorian Jack, played by Tom Burke, the main driver for the Citadel, who does the runs back and forth on the Fury Road to get supplies for the Citadel. Furiosa will eventually come to be who we see her in Mad Max Fury Road, so I'm going to end the synopsis there. However, I will say this film serves as a nice prequel to the character Charlize Theron gave us 9 years ago. The only problem is that while Miller brings us into the world again, some of the stakes aren't fully earned because we know who she's going to become. So the moments of how she loses her arm or decides to cut her hair, while we get those explanations, the emotional stakes aren't necessarily what we want them to be. I feel there's not as much investment, kind of similar to the way some people felt about the Black Widow film, because we knew what was going to happen to the Black Widow in Infinity War and Endgame. So it's like, to go back, it's great to see. It's just lower stakes, but that doesn't minimize the work that Taylor Joy does. I mean, she embodies Furiosa with all that angst that you expect her to have, and provides quite a nice equal when we get to Hemsworth's larger than life villain Dementis. Hemsworth loses himself in this role with fun abandon. That although I mean, you have to say, he's detestable, but he has moments where his dialogue will definitely have you laughing out loud, as if he completely understands the absurdity of the circumstances surrounding us. Also, when she's there, and this is the best young actor actress nomination understanding, Brown is also a good foil as the younger Furiosa for the time that she shares screen time with Hemsworth. In fact, you could almost divide the Furiosa role as Brown anchors the first hour of the film before Taylor Joy rounds out the second hour and 20 minutes or so. In addition to the cast performances, the action is stellar. Miller reteams with some of his Oscar winning colleagues from Fury Road to craft this action filled tale. So much so that, the boilerplate plot of the Mad Max films is still alive and well. Returning editor Margaret Sixel teams with Elliot Knappman. They cuts all of new cinematographer on this film's John Seale's work into a masterclass of action. There's quick cuts between different players during the chase scenes. It's fast but effective, and yet you don't feel like you're getting whiplash despite these quick moves all over the place. Seal fills the scenes with this barren landscape so that every explosion lights up the screen. Jenny Bevan, I'm happy, is nominated for Costume Guild. She returns to costume our heroes and villains with the abandon that one would have in this setting, and she especially has fun with certain costume pieces that change as the film progresses. And while this is a bit more tame in some senses than Fury Road, it's still a satisfying film that fills its time. Now, will Furiosa have Oscar chances? I would want to say yes in a different year, but don't think so. It did not make the shortlists for Best Visual Effects or Best Sound, which I thought would be two strong contenders for this. I don't think it deserved the attention it needed in the other categories. Bevan has an Oscar history, so it's possible this could be a runner for costume design. But to be fair, you know, you don't really get multiple films kind of in a similar setting. And the dystopian world film that we have this year is Dune Part 2. That's where a lot of the focus is going. Warner Brothers produced both of these films, and they're putting a lot more of their metal, it seems, behind Dune Part 2. That's where they're hedging their bets. But given the National Board of Review win, I think it's possible one other award we could hear Furiosa get nominated for is at the SAG Awards. I haven't talked much about the SAG Awards this season, but their outstanding work by a stunt ensemble is where I think Furiosa also deserves to get a little recognition with a nod. But Miller is not going to recapture Oscar glory as he did for Fury Road. But that's to say, it's not always about the awards, it's about the film. And all in all, Miller's World is a lot of fun to return to and all of the chaos that ensues. For me, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, is a solid 4-star film. If you haven't seen it yet, you can catch it streaming exclusively right now on Max. So, there we go. 43 down, 54 to go. As always, if you like what you heard here, subscribe to the channel, like the video, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Find lots of great info at my website, cinephilemike.com. We're almost halfway there. It's just going to keep getting better and better. But until next time, folks, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.